All right, guys, I'm going to show you how to hook up the 5 meters of beer line to a very short cooling line. Here's my example for a cooling line. You can see that it's not very long. I've got 2 beer lines here that are 4.8 meters or so. So when I start, I'm going to leave beer line hanging out. And I've got beer line on both sides of the cooling line, just like that. I've got a little bit of tape, and I'm going to just tape it all the way down. All right, guys, you can see that I've taped the 2 beer lines to my cooling loop, just like that. You can see that I've got them, nicely wrapped together with just basic tape, but I still have this much beer line to deal with. Right? So you take the beer line, and without putting a kink in it where it's bent sharply, I'm going to wrap it around to the other side like that, and then just start working my way back down, just like this. Then I'm going to loop it back over, work my way back down. Now I'm going to do this, and I'm going to take a picture of it and show you what it looks like. At the ends, right here, when you tape it, you got to make sure that you don't completely squeeze it together like that. So you tape it, you make sure that it's not squeezed, and then when you insulate, you want to make sure that these lay flat, and I'll show you a picture of that too. All right, guys, so I got mine finished. So what you're seeing is 2 ends of the beer line, 2 ends of the cooling loop. Then if you look right here, you can see that I have looped the beer line down and back, and that follows all the way down this line, coming down and back again. So I've taken these beer lines, I've ran them down the cooling line, back up the cooling line, down the cooling line again, and I have them the same length now. Now, things to make sure that you don't do when you do this, is like I said before, it's very important that this does not get pinched, as well as this end not getting pinched. And it's also very important that the beer line is touching the cooling loop. So each pass that I've made down and back, you can see that my beer line somewhere is touching the 2 cooling loops on the inside. So you've got line contact with the cooling loop the entire way. I'm going to show you one last thing, which is insulating it. You just make sure not to squish this. All right, so I'm using tube insulation. It's just normal pipe insulation. If you have the wrap kind, you can use that as well. But what I want to make sure is when I put it on this end here, if I was to seal this together, I'd smash that. So I'm going to need 2 pieces of this tube insulation right here to go around. All right, guys, so you can see that I put the insulation on there. You can see that this loop is not compressed and has no kink in it, so that the beer can flow freely. So I've started to insulate it. Here's the beer line, and I think you guys got it. All right, as you can see in this, if you look down at the beer line, I've got insulation on this end over here, and you see this unexposed part right here. An important step before you put the insulation on, which I showed in a different video clip, is to wrap aluminum foil around your cooling loops and your beer lines, encasing them in the foil, then putting the insulation over the top of that. The reason for that is that the aluminum foil increases the insulation property of the insulation by quite a bit. So you just take normal aluminum foil from your kitchen. I've got some right here. You roll it out. You lay the beer line in it, and then you start to wrap it. So right here, wrap it in insulation, or wrap it in foil, then you put your insulation over the top of this. So it would be foil, then it would be black insulation on the entire beer line.